Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel. We are also live on the Virtual Cantina Network's Facebook page and YouTube page. If you are watching on either of those YouTube channels and have not done so already, please make sure that you click the like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time we go live. As always, guys, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you would like to get some awesome Virtual Cantina Network swag, just go to tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina. And for some kick-ass customizable Nerf Herder Council swag, just go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. Real quick before we get started, guys, the views of the Nerf Herder Council do not necessarily reflect those of the Virtual Cantina Network. And there might be some bad language on our show. So if you're not into that sort of thing either, you might want to turn us off. So real quick before I bring AJ in here, I do want to send out a big shout out to the mods at the Virtual Cantina Network, specifically Spencer Jowitz. Apparently there were a few people that were not cool with us talking about Harry Potter on the show. They are not fans of J.K. Rowling and her stupid remarks. We're not either, but we appreciate the mods and Spencer specifically for having our backs and supporting free speech and our right to talk about what we want to talk about. Because, guys, we're not political at all. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about a book and a movie that we love. So that's all we're here for, man. Have a good time. So Spencer and the mods, thank you guys so very much. We love you, and thanks for having our back. So without further ado, let me bring on my best friend and my esteemed co-host. He is, of course, my brother, AJ. How's it going, man?
Hey, man. Good to talk to you tonight. Yeah.
Great to talk
kind of funny that we had good. It's kind of interesting that we had to use that disclaimer as far as like the Virtual Cantina and us, because, well, yeah, we're just here to talk about a story and that's it.
Yeah, we don't get into that sort of stuff, man. That's like, for anybody who doesn't know, AJ and I, we are the least political people ever. We hate all that crap. We don't get into it. We don't care about it. So we care about wands and Nargles and Thestrals and prophecies and stuff like that, which is why we are here tonight. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. Before John Phillips. So a countdown for the countdown. Yeah, John. So that is the fault of my computer. Yeah. So it takes my computer a while to share our live feed to the Virtual Cantina Network's Facebook page. So in order to get that done before we actually go live talking, I have to do both countdowns. So that's my fault. I take full responsibility. So I fixed my internet. I've got fiber now, but I don't quite have the money to upgrade my computer yet. So that's my fault. So before we get going here, AJ, we do have something to plug. And we will for the next couple of months. Guys, it is happening again this year. It is Boon to Eve Special Edition Texas 2 Electric Boogaloo. It is going to be on Friday, August 7th, 2026. It's from 8 to midnight. This is, of course, Rebel ScumCon down in Texas. It will be happening at the Revel Patio Grill at 9305 Preston Road in Frisco, Texas, 75003. Tickets are $35. Kids under 12 are $30 with a paid adult. There is a VIP package for $150, which includes early entry, line skipping, priority seating, and special swag. There will be meet and greets. There will be sabak, courtesy of our friends at Hyperspace Props. And there will be live band karaoke, as well as full bar and full food menu available. Guys, the event did sell out last year. It was a huge success. So if you are planning on attending Rebel ScumCon, whatever you do, make sure you get down there and check out Boon to Eve Special Edition Texas 2 Electric Boogaloo on Friday, August 26th. Friday, August 7th, 2026. 8 to midnight. And that is brought to you by our main sponsor, New Hampshire LASIK Associates. They are the official event sponsor of Boon to Eve Texas 2. See the galaxy in a whole new way. So there we go. I could be in advertising, man. Look at me.
You could be, but I do want to correct one thing. You said the VIP is $150. It is $50.
Oh, did I misread that?
Yes.
All right.
Much better
stand
value.
corrected. Yes, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. It is 50, not 150. If it's 150, that means you're buying 3 of them, which you should do. So there you go.
I mean, bring your friends, right? So
Exactly.
a 3 is $150. There you go.
Thank you for correcting me. It's like I swear I'm gonna have to get glasses for like my mid vision is fine, and I don't want bifocals, so I've got like distance glasses for obviously distance, and then driving and whatnot. I think it's time I get some stuff for close up because reading books and computer screens now is getting a little bit more difficult. So might have to remedy that. There's your old man.
You're doing better than me. All my vision is mid. Get it?
Yeah,
That's what kids say.
I was just gonna yeah. So
You wouldn't get it, Unk.
I don't know all these terms. You know me. So Dream Theater Girl, that's of course our wonderful friend Chastity Crawley, says, I have a freaking Zoom meeting that my husband was supposed to go to, but decided to play pickleball, so I have to fill in. So disappointing. Time to multitask. Zoom, NHC, and baby. Yeah, Chastity is our resident Harry Potter expert. So great to see you, Chast. Hope everything's going good with you and your new baby there. Joseph Wren, great to see you, brother. He says he wants to know, what about the second countdown of the countdown? Oh my God. Look, man, I'm doing what I can to give you the best content. Quit ripping me, man. What are you doing? So, all right. Now that we're done with all that whiny bullshit, on to bigger and better things. So, yeah. So this is the 5th installment of the Harry Potter series for us. And I have to say, so I tried to get through the book again by, reading it and listening to the audiobook at the same time. So hopefully get through quicker. But I only got through about 2/3 of, that. I watched the movie again today. I think I have a little bit different impression of this, having done that. A different impression that I had previously.
Oh.
This has been, now correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say on a previous show that this is your favorite of the series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this my chance to elaborate on that, or are you still going?
No, I was just going to say, the only thing I was going to say was, for me, this one was always just kind of there. It was one of those,
okay.
it was like kind of forgettable. But I think in going back and rereading, re-listening, rewatching, however you want to phrase it, for me, I think what ended up happening was I see this one in a different light. To me, it's kind of, I think you can almost separate the Harry Potter series now, for me, into 2 halves. There's like there's books 1 through 3, and then like the first 80% or whatever, 70% of Goblet of Fire, and then after that, the remainder of Goblet of Fire and then Order of the Phoenix onward it's like a different story. It's like a different vibe, and I feel like Order of the Phoenix kind of sets that all up for the first like third of it. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree entirely, and that's actually why this one is my favorite. I feel like Cedric dying in the graveyard is like the Order 66 of the Harry Potter universe. That's the pivot when everything goes from, oh, it was just a bunch of kids doing magic at school, to, oh shit, it's a wizard war. Okay. And this one, I think that's why I like this one the best, is because now that we're dealing with the aftermath of that, which I think is always fascinating. I remember when I first read this book, I was really at first like annoyed with Harry, because he's just so frustrated and pissy and everything. And we've all been that age, but we probably don't remember it so much anymore. But we've also got experience of having been in a parental role to people of that age recently. And they be annoying. They be obnoxious. So actually, I think Harry was written like pretty true to his age in this one. He's 15, right?
Yeah, I always think of it like you can tell how old he is based on what book number it is. In book 1, he's 11. Book 2, he's 12. 13. 14, and so on. Yeah,
that's pretty easy then.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I like that, and this is also where really it feels like now we're dealing with the wider wizarding world. We've got some plot threads or characters returning from previous books, and then also new ones being introduced. So it's not just, oh, Harry's going to solve everything. It's no, this thing is too big for Harry alone, and now it's a whole cast of characters that are going to help fight this fight. And that much I really like, because honestly, Harry, much like Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars saga, not my favorite Star Wars character. Harry Potter, not my favorite Harry Potter character. So there's my hot take. Now the internet can come at me.
Okay. Who is your favorite Harry Potter character?
My favorite glup shitto, I'll call them, of the Harry Potter universe is Luna Lovegood.
Really?
I don't know why that character. I just love. She's so spacey, and it cracks me up. And then the movie casting was perfect. She played it like to a T.
Yeah.
So I think she's probably my favorite. And then otherwise, Mad-Eye Moody.
Oh, Moody's a good selection. Moody's a good selection.
So I get both of them in this story. So that's why this one is an easy pick for me. What about you? You asked favorite characters, so let's start there.
Give me some Neville Longbottom.
Oh, Neville.
I just love the, like, he's clumsy and lovable, and and it's just like I think actually that's one of my favorite moments of the whole movie saga. It happens in this movie, as I stutter all over myself. When he tells Harry about his parents, in the room of requirement, and he says, I'm really quite proud to be their son. It's obviously stretched out more in the books what happened and whatnot, and that is, it's that is one of the differences in that Harry, he doesn't tell Neville that he knows about Neville's parents, and then in the movie, Neville's just like, yeah, hey, here's what happened. So, but yeah, I'm a big Neville guy. I thought it was cool, like in the first one where he basically tries to stop his friends. He ends up getting like those 10 points for Gryffindor, and for trying to stop him from getting in trouble again and things like that. So,
I always thought it was fun that he's just kind of in the background for most of the saga, and then or series. I don't know if we call it a saga or whatever, but yeah, he's one of those background characters. Like he's always in the events, but you don't really think much of it until the latter books, and then all of a sudden he steps into a more prominent role, and that is, I just love that, how it's like the story follows our three main characters, here on the overlay, obviously, Harry, Ron, and Hermione, but it's not just their story. And I love that, like, the other characters that contribute have been there the whole time. They just didn't step into their own until later in the series, which is really cool.
Yeah, I agree with that. John Phillips, he says, Phoenix book can be a slog to get through. Dream Theater girl Chastity, she says, I love all Harry Potter, so I can't pick a favorite. Order of the Phoenix is nice and dark and broody, very teenage coming of age drama. And Aaron Taft, great to see you, man. Appreciate you tuning in. He says Neville is the chosen one. Yeah, that's an interesting kind of twist to this story, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that we'll get to that. Yeah, I think you make a very good point about this when you said that this is kind of like the time where Harry all of a sudden has to, it's like a teamwork makes the dream work thing, because, Sorcerer's Stone, he and Ron and Hermione kind of figured out the puzzle, but it really was kind of like a Harry by himself. Harry versus the Basilisk in Chamber of Secrets was himself. So it's, yeah, I think you make a very good point. And I think that's kind of the theme of the rest of it. And that's why I say it's, to me, it's like in two halves. And Cedric's death, in a way, and I may have said this when we talked about Goblet of Fire, but it's not just like the death of a character and whatnot. It's kind of like the death of the innocence of the Harry Potter series.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really cool. And then, like you said, and now that it is Harry having to team up to get this stuff done, I think that's kind of the theme of the rest of the rest of the series is that, okay, well, now it's good versus evil. You got the Death Eaters versus the people trying to, thwart Voldemort for a second time in 13, 14 years, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really cool. And, to John's point, saying, the Phoenix book can be a slog to get through. That's one of the things that I kind of noticed when I was going back through it, is that I don't think it's a slog, but I never really realized how the first probably good third, if not a little bit more of the book, really is set up for the remainder of the story in a way. It's like, hey, here's the Order of the Phoenix. Here's, there's it's a lot of exposition more so than it is action.
Yeah.
So,
and that I think that holds with my analogy of Cedric's death being the Order 66, because much like Revenge of the Sith was like a frenetic pace and jumping from this to that and that, and super high energy, and then you get to A New Hope right after, if you've ever done a watch through like we have in episodic order, and it's like, holy crap, the pacing kind of grinds to a halt by comparison. But that's because you're setting the stage for all the story that comes afterward. And that's what this book has to do. It's got that burden of trying to set up all these additional characters and the Ministry of Magic and all this other stuff that, you can't have the rest of this book and then 6 and 7 without taking some time to be like, this is Tonks, and this is the Order of the Phoenix, and this is what Sirius has been up to, and this is what Dumbledore has been up to, and here's Hagrid, and here's Cornelius Fudge, and here's Dolores Umbridge. And, obviously we'll get to all these characters on tonight's podcast, but if you don't take the time to introduce these things, and this is one of my issues, unfortunately. This is where I think really the movie has a really hard time. It's the same runtime roughly for every movie, but the page counts are more than doubling at this point.
Yeah.
And there's just so much that they've got to get through. It's really tough. Like Sorcerer's Stone was 309 pages, and Order of the Phoenix was anywhere between 870 to 912, depending on which edition you got.
Yeah.
So it's like 2 to 2.5 times the material that you've just got to like trim the fat, and then like have it's hard to not lose some of people's most beloved bits in there. So do you want to talk about like some of the stuff that had to fall by the wayside?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to go. I will say this, and I mean this is occurring more and more for me, but we talked, when I our previous episode when we were discussing Project Hail Mary, highly recommended. If you didn't see that episode, that movie book, like go read the book or watch the movie. It's amazing. Anyway, I had said that, these adaptations, these book adaptations, turned to film, they're starting to feel rushed to me. And as I was reading and listening to the audio book and whatnot, and the actual physical novel, when I went and watched the movie today, I had that exact thing. I'm like, God, they just fly through stuff, and there's no way around it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it really is. I mean, and then there's some things that they just kind of gloss over. I mean, and you're not wrong. By the way, Chastity brings up a really kind of a cool story. She says Ivana is amazing. That's the actress who played Luna Lovegood. It says she beat anorexia to be able to audition. She met JK, and JK said if she got better, she'd make sure Ivana got an audition. So yeah, that's kind of cool. So she also says to Aaron Taft, Aaron, Neville can't be the chosen one, not according to the prophecy. Yeah, but they kind of like, how they do it, Chaz. They kind of make it sound like he is in a way, so that there's some cool ambiguity going on there. But so where did you want to start with, like, things that they left out? I mean, what was, since you I'm more familiar with this than you are, so the fact that you brought it up means there's got to be something glaring to you that.
Well, the biggest omission in the movie series from here on out is spew.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about it like a subplot that really isn't necessary. Like that is a good place, I think, as entertaining as it is for Hermione to have her own like B story or whatever going on. Do we really care about the house elf thing? Like, it really is ancillary. Yes, I know they fight on the side of the wizards against the Death Eaters eventually, but yeah, I think we can cut that. That was an easy one. Did it feel glaring at all to you? Did you really care that it was gone?
No, because I always felt the same way about it in the book. I was like, it was just kind of this thing that Hermione was doing, and it was. I think it's probably, to me, the only thing I can think of that sticks out like a sore thumb. Excuse me. Where I'm like, yeah, is this really necessary? Like, it's a very Hermione thing to do, but I think by the time that whole thing comes in, we already know who she is and how she is. So I don't think they needed the whole spew thing. They could have just had her talk every time a house elf issue comes up, kind of like complain about it, and then it's just like a character quirk that she's all about the rights of house elves and whatnot. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm I think it's superfluous, and yeah, they really, really didn't need to do that in the movie, because you're taking away time from other things that have to be done. So
yeah, I can imagine that was an easy one in the writer's room. Be like, okay, so what can we remove to streamline this a little bit? And they're like, hey, that really effects heavy sub story where we have to CG some elves around for this whole Hermione thing. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good cut. Okay.
Yeah.
Save some money, speed up the runtime. Love it. What did you think about the intro to the movie? Because obviously the book has any number of pages it wants to kind of set the tone and ease people in, and this one, I think most of any movie so far just like literally jumps right to the action.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know how else they could have really done it, because in the book, Harry's laying in the hedge. He's trying to listen to the news for any sort of hint of Voldemort news in the Muggle newscast, and and then he goes walking around, and they talk about how Dudley's out beating up little kids, whatever. And there's quite a bit of stuff, before, I wouldn't say quite a bit, but there's a lot more exposition anyway, what Harry's going through mentally and things before they actually get to Dudley, running into Dudley and his friends. But in the movie, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's hot outside. And then he's at the swing set, and there's Dudley. He's like, oh, you're beating up a 10-year-old? Oh, you're afraid of your pillow? You're crying in your sleep. Oh, it's cold. Oh, Dementors.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know how else they could have really done it. I mean, I can't say I'm the biggest fan of it, but I also have no idea how they could have improved upon it. I mean, do you think that it should have been done differently? Or
I think for the start of the story, that I don't know where you could have trimmed more running time from other parts, but I think at the beginning it's worth it to try to start a little slower, set the stage a little bit instead of jumping right into it, because it has what I call the Hunger Games problem, where the intro especially feels like they're just getting through events because they have to. It's all plot. It's not story. It's like, oh, well, that's in the book. We have to include that. Okay, but you haven't really set it up yet. So it's just like there because someone wrote it as something that mattered in another medium, where, I don't know, maybe they could have like referenced this stuff. They could have maybe they could have just started at the hearing and then dragged it out a little bit more there because what's part of the hearing is like retelling the events of the intro. So maybe they could have just done the witness testimony and the deposition as like the way to tell the audience those events rather than showing them first and then jumping to the other.
I don't.
One of
I
the things,
know.
One of the other things in the intro that bugs me in the movie, especially, is the whole thing is like the wizarding world tries to hide from the Muggles, right?
Yeah,
and they make a big point, which also doesn't make any sense, of the trip to London to the headquarters of the Order of the Phoenix, and how they're up in the clouds and it's like wet as hell and cold and you know, Harry's hands are going. Wasn't it like ball sweat hot for the intro events of this story? Now I understand it's colder up high, but how friggin' high were they flying that it's not still stupid hot in the middle of summer, right? I thought that was kind of strange. It's like J.K. Rowling forgot that like it was only cold because the Dementors were around, not because meteorologically it made sense. It's like, oh yeah, it was cold in the last scene, so we're gonna keep it cold. Like, no, that was artificial.
The thing
I thought that was weird. And then in the movie, this is something that bugged me. They're zooming alongside boats that are cruising down the Thames and, you know, in and out of bridges and like very visible to Muggles flying on brooms the whole damn time. That's why they were up in the clouds, was to hide from everybody.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
That I think is a big – head scratcher. I think the VFX team just wanted to show off a little bit.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was kind of, when I saw the movie, I was like, wait a minute, aren't they supposed to be like not seen? Maybe it was like, I don't know, maybe it was like a disillusionment charm or something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Couple chat. Jamie Nienberg, great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. She says Morgan and I, that's her daughter. Morgan and I are currently on page 599 of 870. We'll be rewatching the movie after we finish the book. We are Potterheads. That's awesome. If you haven't finished it, then there's going to be spoilers on our show, so you might want to be careful there.
So, real quick question for Jamie, by the way. If you're a real Potterhead, have you been sorted into a house? I'd love to know what your house is.
Yeah, what house?
I think we talked about this. I'm a Gryffindor. You've got the Gryffindor background, so I'm assuming you are too.
You know what? I don't remember.
Oh, time to go to Pottermore.
I think I was Slytherin, actually.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're kind of a dick.
Well played.
I want to hear that in the Sorting Hat song. If you're kind of a dick, you're in Slytherin.
I'm sure we could come up with one. We have musical genes. What the hell?
We should write like the most vulgar songs for the Sorting Hat.
Exactly. like Hufflepuff is just a bunch of chumps.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're all like the kids that get bullied and stuff like that. So it's like, well, they'll have them, and then Slytherin are the total a-holes. Like Gryffindor, basically the jocks. Ravenclaw's the nerds. So we just kind of
what it is, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So Joseph Wren has a kind of a good point here. He says, I respect the author for making the 5th book in the series the longest. The book could have ended about 500-ish pages if she had made the Ministry of Magic section a short story. It's the longest post-credits scene of all time in the book. Yeah, that's an interesting way to phrase it. Yeah, see, I don't know how they could have. I don't know how they could have changed the intro. I don't agree that they could have just gone right to the hearing. I think you kind of had to see the whole, he fought off Dementors. You had to see, okay, he got expelled. Okay, you got a hearing. I think those things are necessary, because otherwise, if it just starts out with Harry and a hearing, you're like, what the hell is this? And yeah, you can explain the events like you said they did, but I think it's more effective to see it. And I think there's a little more gravity to it by having done that. So,
Okay. The one thing they skipped over, though, which was really crucial to the intro, in my opinion, was, the one setting up at that time, kind of like paranoia, but just establishing the Order of the Phoenix and like who was in it and what their traits were. And here's 12 Grimmauld Place and all of that. And omitting all of that, I thought that was more important than telling the events twice.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I just for me, I think it's more, like I say, the way they did it, I'm okay with. So
what about the characters that the Order of the Phoenix is much smaller in the movie than in the book. A lot of characters just don't get a mention, or at least even a name drop. Yeah,
well, I see, but I think that's intentional, because in the book, like, yeah, there's like a whole bunch more, but
mm-hmm.
a lot of them only really get a name drop. When they first like introduce, like, oh, here's Daedalus Diggle and whatever, and Phineas Nigellus or whatever, and all this. But then you're really only dealing throughout the book with like Tonks and Moody and Lupin, and
Daedalus Diggle sounds vulgar, right?
Yes, I mean this. I have to agree, yes, but
it's like every time I'm playing any Legend of Zelda game and Tingle comes up, I'm like, I don't like a character named Tingle, not one that dresses like that.
Well, I think we addressed it on a previous show that J.K. Rowling has like kind of this darkness that comes out every once in a while. So,
oh yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. There's some vicious stuff in this book.
Yeah.
But yeah, there one of the subplots, another subplot that they dropped was all the background of Fred and George setting up their joke shop with the winnings from the Triwizard tournament that Harry gave them.
Yeah,
and getting hooked up with gear by come on, I'm blanking out. They say they cut the story from the movie.
Mundungus.
Who was the character? Mundungus Fletcher. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he was like an unreliable guard, and that's what allowed the Dementors to get to Harry in the first place.
Yep. Yeah, they showed them trying their sweets out on kids, but they didn't really. I would agree with you. I don't think it was overly clear as it was in the book. You know, and the one thing I will say is in the movie, they interrupt the OWLs, and by flying through and doing fireworks and stuff like that. But I thought it was, I thought this was something kind of a missed opportunity in the movie, because in the book, they've got the fireworks and all this other kind of stuff, but they create a swamp, and they hide their candies everywhere, and they leave instructions for Peeves, like, hey man, here's how you can really F with people. And like they could have put that in there. They could have, it would just take a second. The swamp thing would have been cool. Peeves, they could have just shown him like, I've got all this information, or something like that. So I thought that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, because just doing the fireworks and blowing up the OWLs is like, okay, well, I will say it was kind of cool that they blew up all the educational decrees on the walls on the way out. That was pretty sweet.
Speaking of omissions, the whole subplot of Percy working for Cornelius Fudge.
Yeah. That. Well, see, but I think that's one of those. I think that's one of those things that you can really only put in the book. I mean, it would have been. I mean, it's an important one, I think, especially when you get into Deathly Hallows, when the family kind of comes back together, and Percy's like, yeah, I was kind of a prat, as they would say.
Or Git.
Yeah, Git. Yep. Yeah, it's an important one, but I think excuse me,
I love how that's sanitized, by the way, because bad language alert, by the way, for all of us Americans. That if this was truly UK, they would be calling themselves, they would be saying that they're being a twat, right?
Yes.
Like that's, or cunt. Those are just, yeah.
See you next
Sorry
Tuesday.
for the bad language, but it's not really a big deal over across the pond. So
yeah.
Way to sanitize that for global audiences there. I also noticed in the movie, when the weather forecast is talking about like how hot it is, they say it's 30 degrees, which is 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, I like how they, of course, did the translation for all of us stupid Americans that don't use Celsius.
Right.
It's they knew that they had a global audience to speak to on that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Percy thing is important, but I think it's one of those things you kind of have to cut out, because it would take a little more exposition that you could be using on something else. I think one of the things that I kind of realized watching this movie, getting through it again and thinking about the stuff we're talking about, the omissions, I kind of wish that they had done with these movies what they did with the Lord of the Rings. Those were long movies to begin with, but then later on they put out, the uncut editions that added like an hour to each one. And it's like, okay, like some of that stuff I think was a little pointless. So it's like maybe a little bit of overkill. But I think in terms of the Harry Potter novels, in terms of the movies, I think they could have put out versions that had extra stuff in there to kind of, expand on the story. And the Percy thing might have been a good one to throw in there, because again, the family coming back together in Deathly Hallows is really, I think, a really strong emotional moment. Yeah. So I think that'd be something that was, it'd be great to add back in. Don't add in you though.
And that's one thing that, especially from here on out in the movies, is very different. Is I get, again, the running time was fixed, and okay, so you can stretch out Deathly Hallows because it's the last one, but otherwise you've got to find a way to keep the runtime the same, even though the amount of material keeps growing and growing. And as a result, I think what you get most obviously in this one, and then more obviously as it goes on, let me recheck those page counts. Actually, I feel like this is the longest book. If it's not the longest book, it is the longest book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I always thought
But-
Goblet of Fire was.
Goblet of Fire, it just feels that way. 734. So it's pretty long. I mean, it's still over double what the first book was. But they had to with the movies, I guess. They kept it focused on the big three. You know, anything that they didn't have to tell about background characters, they just didn't, because that was a good way to like instantly trim out the fat and, you know, only have a story that pertained to the characters that we could follow, which also makes it easier. Like in the streaming era with like peak TV and stuff, you can have like this giant ensemble cast and tell us a story about this character and this character and this character. But unless you're Marvel and you have like all these different movies that culminate, you really have to keep the core cast kind of tight so you can keep the story focused.
Yeah.
So I think what you end up with is a good movie series, but one that doesn't have nearly the breadth or the depth that the books have, because there's just not enough minutes of screen time to get everybody their storylines, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. Speaking of not enough screen time for storylines, one thing I thought was a little too glossed over was the occlumency lessons.
Oh
movie.
yeah.
Because
That was a surprise. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that's one misstep that the movie has, because one of the main plot points in the novel is the fact that, you know, Harry is basically seeing, you know, what Voldemort is seeing. He's, you know, when he's dreaming, he's like in Voldemort's head. You know, when Mr. Weasley gets attacked in the Ministry of Magic, you know, Harry, like, he is the snake doing the attacking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then he, you know, it talks about in Dumbledore's office, like he had a moment where he wanted to lash out and bite, you know, attack Dumbledore. And, you know, that's kind of a big deal. It's a very big deal in the book. And the occlumency lessons go on for a while. You know, Snape trying to get Harry to close his mind so that, you know, Voldemort can't read it, this, that, and the other. You know, Dumbledore is specifically blowing off Harry because of that. You know, because, you know, Voldemort's trying to read his mind, so he's trying to give him as little as possible. And in the movie,
Also, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, that's also something they kind of, at least they don't do a good job of pointing it out. Like it's very obvious in the book. They talk about how like Dumbledore didn't look at Harry, you know, for the longest time until the shit really hit the fan there and Dumbledore had to go on the lam. But in the movie, it's just kind of omitted.
Yeah, I think it's very omitted personally. Because, you know, when it got to the occlumency part in the movie, when I was watching it today, I was like, well, that's over in like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an afterthought. It was almost pointless. And part of me is like, well, if you're not going to expound on that and expound on why they're doing it, then you might as well just leave it out. So I think was a misstep, because that was very, very important, I thought. And they really don't do anything with it. It's just like, you know, there's two scenes of Snape trying to teach Harry to close his mind, and then Harry finally gets pissed off and he like fights back, and he sees, you know, Snape's memory of Harry's dad teasing him and stuff like that, bullying him. And then he's like, your lessons are done. And it's over. It's like, well, it comes across as like, well, you sure didn't try very hard, did you?
Right. Yeah.
Whereas in the book, as much as, you know, you think he hates Harry and whatnot, he really put some effort into that training. So it's a very different vibe in the novel as opposed to the movie.
Did you feel it might have been a bit of a rehash though? Like we already sat through the
pensive or pensive, however you pronounce it.
Not the pensive, but the lessons that Lupin gave to Harry so he could defend himself against the Dementors. And he was having a hard time, like, you know, summoning the Patronus, for example.
No, I don't, because I think they handled that properly, because I think that I'm glad you brought it up. No, I think they handled that one properly, because, you know, fighting off the Dementors in Prisoner of Azkaban is a major point. So
yeah, but in the book, it was like there was a lot of scenes of, you know, Harry goes back and he gets a little better at fighting off the Dementors, you know, Boggarts in this case. But
yeah,
okay, so it's Harry having lessons after hours to learn a new skill. Got it. And this is the same thing again. It's just a different skill. So maybe that's why they skipped it. I don't know. They didn't want to like feel like they were treading the same ground over again. What do you think?
I would hope not, because again, one of the main plot points is the fact that, you know, Voldemort is trying to get into Harry's mind, and Harry can see, you know, through his eyes, whatever. And so the occlumency lessons are important. It's to stave off that ability. So I think they should have, you know, done it the way they did, because, you know, it makes sense. You know, he's got the lessons from Lupin to learn the Patronus charm, to fight off Dementors, and then Dementors come at the end in Prisoner of Azkaban. And this one, you know, it's, well, Voldemort's trying to get into his head, but Harry can see through his mind. So, okay, occlumency is gonna keep that from happening, so that, you know, Voldemort can't get in. I think it's important. So I think they glossed over it too quickly for how important it is to the story.
One thing that I was wondering, and in my re-listen, audibletrial.com/NHC, I don't remember if they covered this. Why specifically Harry? Like occlumency. Thank you. Jeez. Wow. I don't know why that one is so tough for me, but it's okay. I'm a muggle. Occlumency, it works on anybody as far as I know. I mean, Harry was able to rebound it on Snape. So why was it specifically Harry that he was trying to eavesdrop on instead of like any member of the Order? Was that covered?
I don't believe so. I mean, I guess we can chalk that one up to Harry is the most important character, I guess. Yeah, that's, you know what, that is a chastity question for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've got a couple chastity questions or questions for you. So yeah, that's the first one.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I think, you know, you can simplify and say, well, Harry's the most important character and whatnot, but you know, it's interesting because I can't really answer that, but then he does use the torture of Sirius to lure Harry when he realizes he's not going to be able to get the prophecy by, you know, going through other members. You know, he attacked Arthur Weasley, and you can't get into the room, and this, that, and the other. So he basically brought Harry to him by, you know, abducting Sirius and torturing him, because he knew that would get Harry to come running.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it isn't. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because I'm drawing a blank. I do want to say that, like, the prophecy, I think it can only be like read by the person it's about, if I remember correctly. Because if you remember in the, yeah, so so that would have to be why. You know, maybe he thinks that Harry already knows the prophecy or something. So he's trying to get into his head and say, okay, where is this?
Well, that was kind of the head scratcher for me too, is like this prophecy comes out in this book, and I'm like, when, why? Like, how did either of them know that this prophecy existed? Harry didn't, and it's about him. So how did Voldemort learn that there was one?
Yeah, that's true.
Like I do have a lot of background questions about this story, and I feel like I just didn't pay enough attention. I mean, with this many pages, I'm sure it's all in there. So, well, I might have missed it. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, I don't remember them talking about, and I maybe I didn't get that far yet in my reread, because it has been probably about a year and a half, 2 years since I read the book the last time. But I don't remember them actually saying how Voldemort found out there was a prophecy. Oh, okay. Yeah, Chastity thing is, she says Snape told Voldemort about the prophecy. Okay.
How did Snape know about it? See, it's just a rabbit hole. It just keeps going.
I mean, you'd have to assume from Dumbledore, I would guess. I mean, because if you think about it, like, by the time you get to the end of the whole thing, you know, and they do show like flashbacks and stuff, So she says they do say it in the book and the movie. Okay. Yeah, when you get to the end, near the end of Deathly Hallows Part 2, the movie, they've got all that flashback stuff with Snape and Dumbledore. So Snape's been kind of in on this whole plan the whole time.
Mhm.
So he's been like, Dumbledore's confidant, I guess would be that's right. Thank you, Chaz. She said he was eavesdropping. That's right. She said he was eavesdropping. He was listening in on the interview between Trelawney and Dumbledore. See, this is why I needed to finish the damn book, but I tried really hard. But we're so damn uneducated. Hey, let's do an episode talking about a book. We don't know that much about it. Asshole.
So I love it. Now, so yeah, okay, so I get that part. My next point is the main conflict here. What do you think that the main conflict is of this story? Because we've got a couple of them.
Well, I think the main conflict is Voldemort trying to get his hands on the prophecy. That's kind of what I thought.
I feel like, to Joe's point about that being a giant post-credit scene, the main villain of this story specifically seems to be the Ministry, and more specifically Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah.
And I have a question about that one that hopefully you can clear up. This is great. Our review of the book is, hey, here's plot holes. Can you explain them to me?
Yeah.
But okay, so I get that fear can really cause people to bury their head in the sand, so to speak. And they're trying to like gaslight Harry the entire book and be like, no, you didn't actually witness Voldemort's return. You're lying.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm pretty sure I watched a kid die right in front of me. It's not something I would have made up.
Exactly.
And I do think that the book does a much better job of hanging on that and all the emotional trauma and baggage that comes along with that, both for, obviously Harry, but also, Cho as well.
Cho Chang. Yep.
And again, at runtime, you've got to keep things moving, but I get the disinformation or the denial if you just don't want to believe that this horrible thing is happening, but they take so many pains to actually like stunt the development and education of these kids for some reason, and that's what I don't understand. I don't get the jump from we deny that this kid is telling the truth to we are going to actively stunt the development of these witches and wizards. Like Defense Against the Dark Arts, and they're like, here's a primer book. Don't even open, you don't need your wand. You're never going to need this. Like, why wouldn't they want to actually teach the subject?
For me, my understanding of it, at least this is the vibe that I get, is that Umbridge is basically, she's on Voldemort's side, I guess you would say. And so it's kind of like softening the enemy, rather than teaching, another generation of witches and wizards to fight. She's saying, oh, no, you don't got to learn this stuff so that they're unprepared for what's coming.
That's the thing. She seems to be making them actively unprepared. And I again, must have missed that plot detail where there was a reason why they wanted them to be unprepared. I thought best thing I could think of was that, again, they thought that Dumbledore was going for Fudge's job, so they didn't want any of the students at Hogwarts to be skilled enough to basically overthrow the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah. No, and that's right. I always felt like there was an undertone of Umbridge having nefarious, God, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, she actively delights in ruining these kids' lives. Like we were talking about dark topics. Come on, that quill.
Yeah. That was pretty sick.
I'm thinking the movie actually covered that one better, because the detail that they went into in the book was like, why would you not speak up about that? And the fact that Harry's just like, I'm fine. Yeah, lines really suck. But in the movie, it's like you see one detention session and then Hermione instantly sees the back of his hands like, that's fucked up. We need to talk to somebody about this.
Yeah.
Like,
that's torture a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, look, and she was using, very.
Were you hearing Pink Floyd in your head too?
No, because I hate Pink Floyd. She was using. How do you? Is it I always pronounce it Veritaserum.
Yeah.
But she was using that to get answers out of people, and I mean, she was really kind of underhanded. So it's again, there's something nefarious about her intentions and her motivations, and so I always just basically kind of chalked it up to, yeah, she's on Voldemort's side, which you see her still in a position of power in Deathly Hallows, so clearly, that's the case. So, John Phillips says, I don't think she's actually associated with Voldemort. She's extremely loyal to Fudge. See, I will disagree with you there, John, only because if it was strictly with Fudge is anti-Voldemort. And if she's still in power in Deathly Hallows, that is why I would say it would lead me to believe she's more into the whole Voldemort thing rather than saying, I'm just, completely, extremely loyal to Fudge. I think she's, I hate to phrase it this way, but it's the only way I can think of off the top. It's like she's a plant. I mean, if you look at the Ministry Council that tried Harry at the beginning of this movie, I mean, you could see that there's clearly ones that were made to look evil, and dastardly, and then there's the ones that are, okay, they're good, whatever. So I that's why I think it's definitely a case of she's not necessarily a Death Eater, but definitely loyal to Voldemort and his cronies. So Joseph Friend says propaganda and control. Umbridge in the Ministry. It's an old plot, especially in European countries. The Ministry of Silly Walks does not have funding for frivolous endeavors such as this one. Nice.
Love the Monty Python reference. That's fantastic right there. I always got the impression that Umbridge was this is as political as I'll get. So I'm only using it for analogy. It's like how right now we have in the States here, we've got climate deniers where we're rolling back EPA mandates for fuel economy and things like that because people just don't want to admit that climate change is real. That does not mean that they want to actively torch the climate and ruin the planet for everybody. It just means that they don't think that it's really happening. I think that's where Umbridge comes down. I think Umbridge comes down with Fudge on I can't even grasp that Voldemort is back. So I'm just going to dig my heels in on whatever position makes me feel safe. I don't think she's as far down the hole as I'm actually working for Voldemort.
Well, I don't know. I see. I don't know. Everybody that's still at the Ministry when Voldemort takes over a couple books from now, they're all on his side, man.
Well, the Death Eaters do have a lot of sway. So the Death Eaters are in positions of power, and they can keep people in political positions of power in the Magic Ministry, to weaken the Ministry. That's their point. It's all subterfuge.
Okay. I don't get that vibe. For me, it's.
Yeah, I think they're purposely putting idiots in positions of power because it'll be less resistance when Voldemort does make his big move.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. By the way, Kale McLeish is working out right now. He says, "Sorry, I'm not tuned in. I'm working out." He says, "I'm at the gym." Well, but you are tuned in. Are we motivating him to do extra box curls? Or maybe some like deadlifts or something. Is Kale doing squats while listening to the Nerf Herder Council?
Ooh, that's a good question. Could we make a game of this? Is there a rule? Like if we say something, then he has to do more squats or something?
Instead of the drinking game, Kale, we'll do the Kale's workout game. If I say score, then you have to You have to do like one more set. He says, no, I'm on the elliptical. Okay.
John Phillips, thanks for making me Google something in the middle of the show. Maybe Umbridge would be a Quisling. Do you know what a Quisling is, JT?
I've never even seen the word.
All right. Well, I'm here to help you out then, or Google is. A Quisling is a traitor who collaborates with an enemy occupying force, often serving in a puppet government against their own country, derived from Norwegian politician Vidkun Quisling, who aided the Nazis in World War II. The term represents ultimate betrayal. Common synonyms include collaborator, sellout, turncoat, and renegade. We learned something tonight, kids. Yay!
Look at that. Thank you, John Phillips. You added to our... AJ and I are dummies. Well, I'm a dummy. AJ, not so much. But we do have good vocabularies, and I had never seen that word, so thank you. Yeah. Yep, there's Chaz. She says it, yeah. Quisling was applied to some who cooperated with communist takeovers. Okay. Joseph Wren. He says the workout game is anytime I pull come on, the more squats.
Oh, I've got my first rule then, because Kale says look up the Cossacks then. Cossack squat is a real thing, so you have to do Cossack squats now. There you go, Kale.
Ooh.
If you name a squat, you have to do it.
So if I say Papa, will that be do a Papa squat? That was bad. Forget I said that. That was awful. That was way too obvious. That was beneath even our stupid humor. So just forget that popped out of my dumb mouth. So, all right. So since we're
damn
it, Kale says that is not how this works. I do not consent. We didn't ask if you consented. You're part of the game now, Kale.
Yep, it's a decree from the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, exactly. It's educational decree number 27. There we go. All right. So since we're on the topic of this character, do you think that Umbridge is the most vile, hated, just awful character in the entire series? Because I do.
Yes, I know. Good discourse is derived from having two differing opinions, but not in this case. No way.
No.
That woman is reprehensible in the books and in the movies. Great casting, great acting.
Yes.
Like I could not wait for her to get her comeuppance. Oh my God.
Yeah. I was actually pissed when she came back later in the series.
Yeah.
After this one. I was all excited that she, I have to admit, I was kind of hoping that for one of J.K. Rowling's more dark moments, like maybe get Umbridge ripped to pieces or something. Or just have her get
dragged
squished.
off by the centaurs. Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah. Have her get squished by Grop.
That'd be great. Like just accidentally.
That'd be a great scene, wouldn't it? Like just do the one thing you really want to have happen. Like, you wanted to see Draco Malfoy die in Deathly Hallows, but instead Harry saves him. He does the good guy thing. You're like, oh, there goes that. And other characters, you don't really get much. But with Umbridge, would have been great if Grop just picked her up and is like shaking her around like a toy, and then ends up just like flicking her and just like whips her into a tree, and so she's all like mangled and like, and then he's like flicking her and just knocking her around like a cat with like a little toy, but her body's just destroyed and she's just like suffering endlessly. They're like, good, that's what you deserve. Just get that
Grop
one
just treats her like a shake weight.
Yeah. Just like J.K. Rowling turns into Clive Barker for the death of for the death of Umbridge. That would have been awesome. That would have just been amazing. But unfortunately not. That character was just man. And in the audiobook, like I don't have all of the full cast editions on Audible, which by the way, audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. I think they've released either 3 or 4 of them now, and they're coming out like every other month or every month or something, but they have full cast edition. So it's like sound effects, it's the actual book itself. So they're not like abridging it, but it's actually
it's like a Star Wars audiobook. It's got, it's cool.
But it's different voice actors for each of the parts and everything like that. It's like a radio play, and they're excellent. And I don't have Order of the Phoenix yet because I don't think that one's out. I have the first 3. But anyway, I've got the old Jim. I want to say his name is Jim Dale,
Yes.
recordings, and when he does the like Umbridge with like he does that so well,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, oh my God, you're so agitated with her, and I mean, she is just reprehensible. Oh, look at Kale. Just saying, but I had the choice of listening to this or Distance Over Time for my workout. Distance Over Time is a Dream Theater record, an excellent one, by the way. It's in my top 3 for my workout. And now I can hear Miley Cyrus. I blame you entirely, JT. Just turn up the volume, Kale. I talk loud enough. So does AJ. There you go. But I do apologize. Yeah, I think this is some of J.K. Rowling's best writing was the character of Umbridge. Because if you are trying to get, someone, an audience to hate a character, I mean, it just piles on and piles on and piles on, and nothing happens to her until the very end. It's not like all of a sudden, like, she gets like, subverted by the other teachers or something, or Dumbledore. Like, no. Her power just keeps growing, and she keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And you're just like, oh my God, when is this person going away? I can't stand this character. And she just hangs like a shadow over the book,
Yeah, I know you don't like season 2 of Andor, and you're just wrong for that. That's fine. But that's one of the main lessons of Andor and Luthen Rail in general, is like, he kind of stirs the pot on purpose, because he's like, people got to get so pissed off that they can't help but get involved. And I feel like that's Dolores Umbridge's character in this is the same way. Like, she is so reprehensible that everybody eventually rises up. Fred and George make their grand exit from Hogwarts, and of course, there's the Room of Requirement and Dumbledore's army and all that kind of stuff. And it all forms because she is the focal point that everything metastasizes around, which is brilliant, because it couldn't have been Cornelius Fudge. He was an idiot, and he was also away at the Ministry of Magic. They had to put someone like directly in the school to have the students like rebel against, and she was perfect.
Yeah.
I love the way she's described in the book too. Did you like catch the constant references to like her looking like a toad, and
yeah, the toad
looks like a fly she's trying to catch?
Yep. Yeah, that's I would say that's the only thing. I mean, she was like, character wise, acting wise, was perfect. The actress in the movies. I just thought that they could have picked somebody a little bit more squat. Like I would picture somebody like what the hell is her name? The psychic or whatever from Poltergeist. Kaylin.
Oh, yeah.
That type of build and that type of face, like, that's what I would picture as Umbridge. But I still think
what must it be like to get cast as that character, though? Because like I said, it's such a detailed physical description of what this person looks like. And then, like, yeah, great. It's a great payday to play that character, but also in the back of your head as an actress, don't you have to like think of like, shit, do I look like that? like I know that there's a great market for being an ugly actor, because there are roles that call for being ugly, but damn, that kind of sucks if you're reading that description and being like, oh yeah, that's me.
Look at this.
Ugh.
John Phillips says Keira Knightley is Umbridge in the new versions. See,
well, as a voice, I mean, fine.
I don't. These new versions are giving me more and more reasons not to watch.
What? Wait, no, I think he's talking about the full cast audiobooks.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, they're only doing one season of the one season per book, so they're still 4 seasons away from introducing Umbridge. As John Google's on screen, good job.
Well, yeah, I gotta, Oh, okay. In the book, okay, I was gonna say, if they're gonna have like an extremely slender, skinny, like the least toad-like person ever as Umbridge for those new HBO things, like, yeah. By the way, Chastity says when the auditions for Umbridge were announced, her friends, her being the actress, her friends told her she'd be perfect for it. So she has said she felt like they thought she looked like a toad.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things where the description is very specific. So that's not a compliment.
Okay, Joseph Friend, thank you. He says Zelda Rubinstein. That's that is the like psychic or whatever from Poltergeist.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's kind of who I was thinking too. You know, it's funny though. I just made a reference to Andor. The connections don't stop there. So we've already covered. I think we've covered this before. How Aunt Petunia is Marva from Andor.
Yes.
Also, Mrs. Fig is Cyril Karn's mother in Andor as well. So
yep.
I guess when you're just casting around Pinewood Studios, you kind of get the same crop.
It's like how Harrison Ford became Han Solo because he was the carpenter.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's one of those things. It sucks when you can't unsee that because Mrs. Fig showed up on screen for my rewatch, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Cyril's mom. Yeah. I mean, the voice is unmistakable. If you've heard it once, you hear it everywhere. So I totally get it. But man,
that's like when I was watching the Ted series, which is excellent, by the way, the Ted TV show. If you like the Ted movies, oh my God, the show is awesome.
Did you get through all of it?
Oh yeah. But I went back and I rewatched a little bit of there's 2 episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia that I like. There's the Rumham one, and then the one where Frank's like trying to marry the hooker, and the hooker is John's mom in the Ted series. I was like, oh. By the way, so check this out. Tell me that this woman, this is great for our audio viewers. Tell me that this woman would not have been perfect for Umbridge. Zelda Rubinstein.
Oh, absolutely.
Was
she still alive at the time of this movie?
No, I don't. Well, that's a good question. I didn't look that up. But yeah, I mean, that is much more of an Umbridge, I think. No offense to Zelda, but
that is so perfect. I wonder if JK had that in mind when she was describing the character. Like if this was a movie, who would? Oh, that's who I would have. Yep.
Nice. All right, so I have to say one of my beefs with the story, both in the book and in the movie, I might catch some crap for this, so let me know where you stand on this. I kind of feel like Sirius's death wasn't as big of a deal in terms of how it happened like I thought it could have or should have been. You know, it's, I mean, in the movie, it's like, you know, Avada Kedavra, and then he kind of gets all misty and goes into the archway. It just kind of seems like, and then in the book, it also was kind of like, it's almost like he just slipped away.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I thought that was a little bit weird too. Honestly, comparing it to Cedric's death, I thought Cedric's death hit harder, which shouldn't be.
I agree. I mean,
that is one thing, especially in the movie. I think they did a better job than the book, which is funny because they had much less time, but they spent more time focusing on building that bond between Harry and Sirius. You know, like they invented that entire scene. Yeah, in the movie, like. Remember, they invented an entire scene at King's Cross Station of Padfoot, you know, morphing into Sirius again and having that little moment with Harry before he went off to Hogwarts. And that wasn't in the book. They had plenty of moments like, you know, at 12 Grimmauld Place. But I feel like for as fast as they rushed through everything else in the movie, they devoted extra time to making sure you got the connection between Harry and Sirius in the movie. And yet, both in the movie and the book, like you said, he took a spell, he fell through the gate, and okay. Little anticlimactic that it was just, one blast and oops, I fell through the thing that kills people.
Yeah. Well, and in the book, it's kind of like he's like, well, let's go get him, or I can hear him. I can hear people right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have to disagree with you on something. I think that the books plural do a great job of establishing the relationship between Harry and Sirius. I think that the movie, having to condense it, does a great job of showing it. But in the novel, like, Sirius is definitely a recurring theme of like, I have a godfather. He's kind of like the person that Harry leans on, and especially after he dies, like in the end of this book, and then in the subsequent two, it's definitely something that he comes back to, is like the grief of not being able to talk to Sirius. There's a lot of, man, I wish, I need someone to talk to about this, and Sirius would be the one, but I can't.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Do you think that Sirius's death introduces maybe a little bit of a problem in the storytelling, where, like, I mean, look, we're talking about literal wizards here. So it's magic. Magic can do anything you need it to, and anything you need it not to be able to do. So you can't look into the logic and the rules of this world too much, but like, Cedric got offed out of nowhere with one spell. Okay, fine. He's a kid. I feel like dramatically it tried to do the same thing. Like, holy shit, anyone could die at any moment. But instead of reinforcing that, I felt like it kind of undermined the stakes a little bit, because like, when people survive things, it was like, you have so many insta-kill things in this universe. Why are these people surviving these events? Like, it seems like very easily in the final battle at Hogwarts, everyone should just be like, Avada Kedavra, Avada Kedavra, Avada Kedavra, Avada Kedavra. Like, we've got death spells. We've got insta-kill spells. So why are we fucking around with Stupefy and Expelliarmus and all this other stuff when we could just be kill?
Well, I think that one's easily explained, and hopefully Chastity will agree with me on this, but they do say, like, and they even say it in this movie, when, he basically, he's got Bellatrix Lestrange, Harry does. He's got Bellatrix Lestrange, like, right in his sights, and he's got her right there, and all he's got to do is say it, and she's gone. Voldemort comes, he's like, you have to mean it. And so I think what, the Avada Kedavra spell, them not using it, is the fact, I mean, first of all, the good guys are like, well, they're good. Their first instinct is not going to be to hate and kill. And so I think that's the inference there. But then I think also, a lot of the Death Eaters and whatnot, I mean, it's very well documented that a lot of them aren't necessarily following Voldemort because they completely believe in his cause. They're doing it because they're afraid of getting killed. And so they don't really mean it either. They're not out there like, oh God, I hate Dumbledore and I hate the Weasleys. Like, they're not, I mean, because they do make a point in the books that, like, to get these things to work, like, you have to mean it. Like, you gotta, it's like, the Patronus charm. You got to think of the happiest thing you possibly can, and you got to really focus on that. And it's the same thing with, the illegal curses and whatnot, especially Avada Kedavra. Like, you absolutely have to mean this if you're going to do it. And I think most people don't. It's kind of like I don't think it's even a metaphor. I think it's definitely like the whole, if you are up against an enemy, can you just up and kill them? Think about it in the real world. Like, if someone completely wrongs you, like, in the worst way possible, and you have the opportunity to murder them, could you bring yourself to do it? And most people can't. So I think this is that, they can't. I mean, if it happens as a result of, okay, well, a big brick fell on you or something, like, because shit's blowing up all around you, okay. But for me to actually actively look at you and just look you dead in the eyes and murder your ass, like,
So it's the hero's dilemma. It's like what comes up again over and over again. Speaking of things you haven't seen, but you should, the Daredevil series, when it's Daredevil and Punisher talking, and Punisher makes a great point. He's like, you can knock people down as many times as you want, they're going to get back up again. I take them out once and they stay down.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I'm just trying to give you some logic as to why everyone's not out there, throwing out a gajillion Avada Kedavras,
Right. I wasn't even talking about the good guys. I was talking more about the bad guys. But yeah, that's the one thing that stood out to me in the final conflict of this is I get that they're kids, so that's probably why. But they're really like they're throwing PP spells at fully grown adults who can absolutely body them in a fight of wizardry. So, which is kind of the point. I know it's like the hero's got to be on the losing end of things before they can ultimately grow and rise above. But yeah, it just seemed kind of stupid when they're like, oh my God, these people are trying to kill us. Quick, knock their wand out of their hand. I don't know. You got anything better than that? Is there like a kick him in the balls spell?
Well, how about rupture the balls?
Right. Like maybe their Patronus is like a giant boot. Just
Wouldn't that be awesome? By the way, that was one thing that I thought was pretty. I have that thought, like in the movie when they're showing the different Patronuses, like was it Luna Lovegoods? I want to say was a rabbit, or maybe it was, I forget if it was Luna's or Hermione's. It was the rabbit, but there was that, and then
actually, but yes,
okay, well, whatever. To me, it's the same damn thing.
Hermione's is an otter, and that should make her my favorite character. But
yes,
just because your Patronus is cool doesn't mean you are.
I just thought it would be awesome to have like some dumpy shit animal, like just have like somebody have like just like a horrible Patronus, like a gerbil. Like
why is mine a dung beetle?
Exactly. Like
and
a
life-size one at that. Like my Patronus is this big.
A sloth that like it moves as slow, so like the Dementors just fly around it.
Doesn't save anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like sitting there like, oh my God, this is the most worthless effing thing I've ever. Like that would
my
be
Patronus
amazing.
is a fish. Well, if I get attacked in the ocean, I'm safe, but otherwise I'm kind of fucked here, guys.
Exactly. There's like an earthworm. It just kind of sits there like slithering. Mine's a slug. What the fuck? Like, God damn it. All they gotta do is throw salt at it. Mine's gone. Yeah, look at Cale McLeish. He says Saccius deformis. So yeah. Kale's also talking about the logic of like having to mean the spell to kill. He also said, oh, I forgot. I think we get pulled down if I put a F word up there. He says, yeah, but also fuck that logic, because why would Harry not mean to kill Bellatrix? My parents are dead. My aunt and uncle are literal pieces of shit, and you just stole the only family member I had. Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I mean, his instinct is not to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So, he says, summon your noble Patronus. Yeah, mine's a snail. Chastity, it says a flea. Yeah, just have like some stupid, like, just like a conch. It's like it just sits there. It doesn't really do anything. And the Dementor is kind of looking around like, what? Oh, are we? Wait, do we run away from this? Like, what? Just go around it. Like, just do something like that.
Or just an ordinary house cat. Be like, the dander will get you.
Yeah. It only
so itchy.
Exactly. It kills with allergies. So
there's no spell against a histamine reaction. Sorry.
Histamine. Yeah.
Is there a spell that replicates an EpiPen? I don't think so.
Look at Joe. Damn you, Joe. He says geode. No.
Yes.
No.
Deep cut Star Wars crossover.
Absolutely not. I am so glad that hasn't come up in a while. In fact, I've forgotten about that. I haven't mentioned in worst Star Wars things when I think about Carrie Poppins and and Pearl and stuff. I forgot about Geode. I completely forgot about that.
I wonder if that'll ever make it onto screen.
Oh, it better not.
Sorry, dude. I almost referenced Geode last week in our Project Hail Mary, or 2 weeks ago in our Project Hail Mary review. Like, We got a living rock on screen. It's only a matter of time until Geode shows up.
Okay, that's different. That's a totally different thing, and you know it. You absolutely know that it is different. And I'm glad you didn't bring it up, because that would have...
Chastity brings up a couple of good points. Umbridge's Patronus is a house cat.
Okay.
So is McGonagall's. Ooh, I wonder what that means. Is there like a connection between those characters?
How would there be?
Like I don't remember how Patronuses are assigned or chosen. But I'm sure there's fanfic out there or some sort of fantasy to explain why those two would share a Patronus.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I'm trying to think of like what the correlation would be, and I can't really think of one. Outside of maybe they both like cats. Like,
I mean, Harry was confused and surprised by the fact that his was a stag. He had to have it explained to him why that would be a proper choice for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't think the wizard or witch actually knows why their Patronus happens to be a certain animal.
That's always been my understanding. I figure it just kind of pops out and they're like, oh, okay, cool. It's a dog or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
See, Chastity makes a good point with this one. I think this might be the, kind of the outlier. McGonagall's is her animagus form, or animagus in Patronus form. Is it animagus or animagus? They pronounce it animagus in the audiobook, but I always thought it was animagus.
Or animagus. No, Jim Dale, I think it's pronounced animagus in the audiobooks that we listen to.
No, it's animagus. He says, yeah. Or maybe it's animagus. I don't know. Tomato, boff, puke, whatever. So, all right, well, we're getting near the 90-minute mark, so
final thoughts. What do you
yes.
So you said that this book is just kind of there for you. So I think we got so down in the details that you didn't really get to finish that thought. So why was this one just kind of there for you?
Well, I think the first time I went through the series, certain ones stood out. Obviously the first one, just because it is the first one, and it kind of sets it up, and it's just like, it's such an easy, light, fun read. There's no real stakes, and Goblet of Fire is my favorite. I just love all the crazy stuff going on with the Triwizard Tournament and all that kind of thing. Again, it's, Cedric's death is kind of like the end of the innocence for the characters, as well as the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like, I guess the first time I was reading the books, I was really ready to get to the Harry versus Voldemort thing. So I feel like Order of the Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince were, again, best way I can describe it were just kind of there for me. It's like, okay, well, that's cool, and but it was like, okay, I think I was ready to see how this whole thing is going to, what the denouement, the climax is going to be, whatever. And so now that I reread it and watched the movie and stuff, and I'm more familiar with the series, I have a better appreciation for this one. I think it's interesting. I the whole prophecy thing definitely, I think, is important, more important to the story than I gave it credit for, I think, initially when I read the book. So yeah, I enjoyed it more, I think, and I appreciated where it stood and what it did for the overall story arc. So it was cool. I enjoyed it more this time around, because I was really digging into it and kind of looking for stuff to talk about on the show, and I got more out of it. So
cool.
Yeah. So this one is not just there anymore, especially because I really do see like this book and then 6 and 7 and the last part of 4 as kind of like a second half. It's like a part 2. So now that I'm looking at it that way, this one and Half-Blood Prince definitely carry a lot more weight than they did. So yeah. By the way, Chastity, thank you for validating me. She says animagus. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, someone needs to tell Jim Dale.
Ah,
We should
well,
do that. We should send him an email.
listen, audiobook guy who knows way more than we do. You pronounced it wrong. It does drive me nuts. I listen to so many audiobooks and you'll hear people mispronounce easy words. I'm like, the hell is that?
Right.
Is nobody in the control room correcting them? Like, dude, no. So, anyways, yeah. So that's my final thoughts. Your final thoughts on your favorite Harry Potter book, Order of the Phoenix.
So, upon rewatch and re-listen, I do have some new takeaways. We talked about most of them on the show, but overall, I still get the same vibe of like, as much as I enjoy Harry Potter stories, I don't care that much about, okay, there's a teenager who's having trouble in high school. So like the small scale of like, it only matters at Hogwarts is, I'm glad the scope expanded throughout the series, because if it had just stayed as this kid and something happened to him in this grade, it wouldn't have really hit very hard, but it pays off the previous stories, because you see how the stakes get raised, how his skills improve. And then this is the first book where it's like, all right, now you're part of a whole world. And this is why all that stuff at Hogwarts in the previous 4 stories mattered. So it's not just, oh, Harry got through it and yeah, his parents died when he was young. It's, oh, that was just one chapter in a much larger story. And now we're getting a sense of the scale of that story.
Yeah.
So this one, I love this one because it sets the stage that way, pays off the previous book. Cedric's death hangs heavy over this entire story, which is great. And yet it still shows like how far Harry has to go, like with the occlumency pronunciation. Oh wait, that was me. He just had to take the lessons. That's right.
Nice.
And it hints at Snape's backstory with James Potter and all these other things. It really feels to me like, I don't know when the entire story really like solidified in J.K. Rowling's mind, but I feel like this is the first book where you really get a sense that she had a clue where the story was going. Up to this point, it was like, here's an adventure that we can kind of tie into the last one, but this is where you really get a sense of the whole scope of the entire series, instead of just, well, that was an entertaining adventure. I'm sure we'll find out what happens in his next school year.
Interesting. I never thought of it that way. That's a very, very good point. I think if you look at the first 4 books in a way, you can look at it that way. Yeah, they're kind of like standalone adventures, and then this one and 6 and 7 are really much. Yeah,
this feels like part 1 of a 3-part arc, and the first 4 feel like standalone stories that have the connective tissue of characters and ongoing events. But it's like she wrote the first one and then was like, all right, I got to do another one. Okay, what can I do? And then the third one was a little more of the same. And then I feel like after the first couple of books, she really she started having a wider cast of characters to pull from. She had really kind of like honed in on what are the rules of this universe that I've created. Mm-hmm. And this is the first one where it's like, okay, I know everything that I can do with this, and here's what I can do with it. I'm going to set the stage for a big finale.
Yeah, dude, perfect. Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's a very, very good point. That's a great place to leave it, man. I can't top that. So real quick, Kale, he's talking about how he feels about the books. He says, I feel like 1 and 2, there's a cloud overhead. 3 and 4, most of 5, it's carrying rain. 6 and 7, nope, that's smoke and you're on fire. So nice.
Yeah, this does a great job of escalating the stakes from the last one, but still leaving room to, get worse.
Yep. Totally agree.
So speaking of great setups and middle chapters to set the stage for a finale, our next episode of the Nerf Herder Council is going to be on May 6th. And that is going to be 2 days after the finale of Maul, Shadow Lord. You've been watching it, I believe, yes?
I actually have not watched the last 3 episodes. I got to find time to sit down and do that. So I've seen episodes 1 through 3.
Okay. Well, then you're going to have an interesting experience then, catching them up, in order instead of just like as they come out. But so Maul Shadow Lord is going to be complete on May 4th, and we will be doing our next episode as a season, not a series, retrospective and review, because we know that we're getting a second season of the show, which is awesome. I love that we already know that before we have to say goodbye to it this time around. But that is going to be our post May 4th episode. I'm really looking forward to it, man. Thoughts so far on the show?
I like it. The third episode was kind of it was okay, but the first two were awesome. So I will say this, having seen all 6 episodes so far, I'm glad they're putting them out in 2 episode blocks, only because the odd numbers seem to be set up and the even numbers seem to be payoff. So yeah, if you think 3 is 4 will finish that little chunk of story for you very nicely, I think. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I'm digging it. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm glad that it's not just a one-off, because I was kind of wondering how they're going to tell a whole mall story in, just, what is it, 10 episodes, 8? 10. And I was like, really? How are they going to do that? So, especially because it's like kind of like a heist story in a way. It's like kind of like there's the crime syndicates and everything. It's not everything you want to know about Maul's backstory during this time. So I thought, okay, you're gonna have to have more than this, and they are, which is awesome. So, yeah. So as AJ says, our next episode is going to be on Wednesday, May 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Excuse me, at all of our usual locations. We have a bigger concern that day, though. I'm either going to be in an awesome mood, or I'm going to be in a horrifically putrid mood. Because that afternoon at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, the tickets for Star Wars Celebration 2027 in Los Angeles, California go on sale.
Ooh, yeah.
And there is so much hype for this. There are going to be so many people trying to get tickets. I always, basically I'm shitting my pants when the on sale date comes up, because I'm just petrified of not getting to go.
Oh, thank you for finishing that sentence. You just kind of trailed off at I'm constantly shitting my pants. No, that's no. Yeah, we're not that old.
Yeah. I may need glasses, but no, I'm always freaking out about the on sale date, because I can't not go to Celebration. And I'm always nervous I'm not going to get the tickets, because for anybody who hasn't ever tried to go or bought the tickets, you get in this digital queue, and you have, those of us who have done it many times know that it's like the Running Man. There's like a little green dude running at the bottom, and so it's like a ticker, say there are 1,428 people ahead of you, and you're just going, oh God, please don't sell out, please don't sell out, please don't sell out. And every time I'm like, I'm not going to get it. And I do, thank God. Whew. But this one, everyone is tuned into the fact. Chastity. Do we need to do banner? John is taking a piss. JT is shitting his pants. Yeah, that could be a banner for the next 2 weeks. Believe me. But yeah, this one, there are so many people trying to get tickets, because it's, even the casual fans, it's the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. And so I don't know what the queue is going to be like. I mean, honest to God, I took PTO that afternoon, because I'm just going to be worthless at work. I'm not going to be paying attention to anything. I'm going to jump in the queue at 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm going to be on multiple devices. So if I'm in a horrible, horrible ass mood, you'll know that I didn't get Celebration tickets, because I'll be bitching about it right off the rip, and then I'll be a complete bastard the rest of the episode. Jamie Nienberg says, thanks, guys. Great conversation until now. Thanks.
Rolled on our own podcast.
Exactly.
You fit in very well here.
Yes. KO, warning. This episode may contain spoiled undergarments. Yes. So, yeah. We'll be talking about the Celebration tickets and whether or not we got them real quick. But then, as AJ said, we are going to be doing a season recap of Maul Shadow Lord, so we'll do that. I might have a special guest on to do that with us. We will see if I can line up somebody to co-host with us. We'll see. But in any case, 2 quick other announcements. I'm super excited. They announced the new Jackass movie finally. It's coming out the end of June, and Man, we got the title for the new Spaceballs. Spaceballs, the new one. I don't care. I'm going on record. I don't care if it's terrible. I'm just going to have a great time with it because I love that we're getting it. This is going to be one of those rare movies. I'm not going to be let down. I'm going in fully expecting it to be terrible. And I don't care if it is. I'm just glad to get a new Spaceballs movie 39 years after the original. So
my only benchmark is I hope it's better than History of the World Part 2.
Now that had some funny parts. I will debate you on that. There was some funny stuff in there. I rewatched a bunch of that the other day. There's some funny stuff in there, dude.
All right.
Abraham Lincoln.
Watch. I don't know. We'll see.
Abraham Lincoln hitting his head on the door jamb, walking out, going, "Oh, thank God, that's the worst thing that's going to happen to my head in the next few days."
Yes.
The Kama Sutra Soup to Nuts book, where he like pairs like a different sexual position with a different soup. That was hilarious. There's some good stuff, man. Anyway, all right. So before we go, we would be remiss if we do not remind you guys one more time about Boonta Eve Special Edition 2 Electric Boogaloo on Friday, August 7th from 8 to midnight at the Revel Patio Grill at 9305 Preston Road in Frisco, Texas. It is, of course, a party for Rebel ScumCon, which is happening down in Frisco. And our good buddy Spencer puts this event on. It sold out last year. He puts on amazing events. So if you would like to go, that is a ticketed event. And again, it does sell out. I apologize earlier for misspeaking on the VIP price, but regular price for adults is $35. Kids under 12 are $30 with the paid adult. And the VIP cost is $50. And that includes early entry, line skipping, priority seating, and special swag. And Boonta Eve Special Edition Texas 2 Electric Boogaloo is brought to you by the official sponsor of Boonta Eve, and that is New Hampshire LASIK Associates. See the galaxy in a whole new way. So until next time, guys, I am your host, JT. He is AJ.
At Drake Adams 579.
And we will see you on May 6th.